Well. It's been a big week in NRL Fantasy Round 10. So I'll jump in here and go through the rankings for all the overall teams. Going to go through the round ranking as well. A few people have been asking me about that. And it so happens to fall on a week that one of my teams did incredibly well also. But we start here with the overall ranks, and we've got Fred here. Actually had a really tough round. He's got 780, so really came back to the pack, which I thought was great. I had a look at a bunch of these teams just before, and I feel like we have a few shaky teams up top. Let me know what you guys think on this one. Well, this team had to play Moale this week, which was very, very interesting, and decided to do so with obviously Aiken out and holding Jones as well. And obviously picked up the Walters 43, which was pretty lucky there. But overall, this team with playing Moale, obviously the lighter game from Harry, to go along with I'm assuming bringing in this week Tommy Trbojevic after his long layoff and picked up a 23. So very, very interesting times for Fred here. And squad value is doing pretty nice at a bit over 13 mil. They're almost 13-1. But overall, a bit of a scary one. And we've got a shout out to Rusty here, who's in our Discord there at 13.245 million squad value, and coming in at second there, just less than 50 points behind Fred. And obviously a great week with Papali'i as captain there, and 880 for the week. Obviously Talakai, not a great one. Played Schneider and Ilias in the halves, which is interesting, and then obviously Hastings on the bench. And same thing. This team here holding Paps, got Violea, got Moale, got Aiken there. So three guys that either aren't scoring well or isn't playing with Paps, for example. So yeah, very interesting times, and what to do with Talakai is going to be the second big question there for Rusty. In terms of number 3 with Hayden, shout out to you as well. Picked up Brandon Smith recently, I'd imagine, as well, and that's a very, very interesting one. Probably is going to work out over the Origin period with a few of the guys out, but right now not scoring well enough to be playing, that's for sure. And picked up Meany, who had a tough week as well. So yeah, very interesting times for a few of these teams. The bench for this guy's looking pretty solid. For example, that was that one. I think number 4 or 5 are looking pretty solid. This team here. Yeah, the same thing. The Tas, the Violea, the Moale. So the few guys, if you're someone who's in the top 1,000 or top 2,000, I'd say, guys, then you definitely have a great chance of pushing up towards these guys, over the next bunch of weeks, but then through the Origin period as well. So that's the top 4 there. I just wanted to go with that, and then the round ranking. So we're 9-1-0-1 is the total points. Just have a look at your team, and your squad value as to where you're at there. Around 10, we had actually my head-to-head squad came second by 1 point, which was pretty crazy. So once this loads in a minute, here we go. All right, so yeah, my team there got 954 this week, which was pretty incredible, and we'll go through it in a second after we go through the people squad. But shout out to Kirsty, who had a couple of sneaky, cheeky players there at 955 with the arrow as a big one. Even had Talakai, but to hold Madison with 84 was great, and to captain Cleary and still get the top score for the week is pretty incredible. Played RC, played Fermor as well to go along with Cotter in the hooking position. So well done to Kirsty for winning that one. And yeah, my team here in second. So we'll go through that in a second. But firstly, people squad time. We actually had a pretty good week. Like average score, to be honest, in round 10, but still made ranks. So we're up to rank 106 now, which is absolutely awesome. Really can't complain with that at all. And 836, so to get that and still gain ranks means that a lot of people in the top the top few hundred, 300, 400, 500 there had guys like Harry Grant, captained Cleary, potentially had a few of these lighter guys like Maxi King, and probably missed out on one or two on the bench. A bunch of these guys have Elliott, for example, and Aiken, so potentially just didn't get lucky on the interchange bench and didn't score as well there. So yeah, strangely enough, with 836 we made about 40 ranks there. So we'll take that for sure. Sitting 106 at the moment with that lovely team value as well. I think we're sitting nice with 21 trades remaining, 84k in the bank. We'll go through the team and sort of find a few ways that we can potentially improve from here. But having Elliott and Aiken out this week, we still were luckily able to get Ilias and also Taff there as players that we could sub in and get some good scores for and really not miss out on the week. And that was the lucky thing. We traded Schneider for Elliott. And everyone just decided that we should just continue holding that because we could get Taft's 44. So that was the theory there as to why we didn't reverse that, and just use Elliott from here on in. Okay, so guys that we'd be looking to potentially move on at this stage, there's not too many. Like obviously Taylor May had a bit of a lighter one, but he's been scoring awesome. Guys like Brown, I think is probably worth just holding through this whole period. He's one of the only lucky ones that well, lucky for fantasy anyway, that won't be playing Origin, for example. We've got the 32 from Kohler, but he's going to be playing in during the bye rounds as well, and he made 15, 17k I believe there, which was helpful. We got Starling who got a 46, so obviously some more minutes would be ideal, but we're going to be holding him through this. If he continues to hit 46, he won't lose anything in his price, which is fine. Chrissy Randall might be one of the ones I think we could look in the people squad to move on in this next week or so, with some better options on the horizon. They've got potentially Milford playing this week, which means that Crossland, they got Kurt Mann potentially coming back, but Crossland should be continuing to take Randall's minutes, and I think that we have enough trades at the moment, enough cash in the bank to potentially move him on. Our biggest worry is the Vialea Moale cheapies there, but thankfully Taft's just started to play a little bit better and gained a little bit in cash this week, that we're not really dying too much, and Kohler's made a little bit of cash. So I'm happy with where we're at the moment, and there's really not a heap of guys that we go, oh, we really need to move them on now, and it might just be Randall. That could be the ideal one to move on, and that gives us 683k, which brings a lot of guys into our thoughts. So actually have Hastings as a potential option this week, which is pretty crazy if I'm being honest with you. He's someone obviously that won't be playing in round 13, but if someone is scoring well enough, and if we can continue to pick up these types of guys, we could really go on a bit of a run here. Trbojevic we could pick up as well, which is very interesting. So that's just right at the top there as potential guys to pick up. Obviously, you've got Crichton as well, Taumalolo after that shocking week. McInnes definitely could be in our thoughts. Matt Burton's in there as well as a potential one. So definitely guys that we could just trade one trade to. I think for us, we'd probably look to pick up another scoring player for round 13 at this point would be ideal, I think. How good's can anyone else not wait for Vialea's 9 in round 13? Like, really excited for those 9 points. So do we even count him as a player coming into round 13? I'm not exactly sure. But that's the People Squad at the moment. Let me know your thoughts on this one. If you want to get in on the action in the People Squad, and if you want to get a part of that, the money that we win at the end when we come first, then jump into the Discord group, guys, and have your say in the People Squad thread there, and you can be a part of this and feel like if your team's struggling a little bit, you can be a part of a team that's really going well. And 2 years in a row, the 2 years we've been opened in the People Squad, we've been doing really good. So that's that one, guys. We'll move on to the fancy head-to-head squad. Oh well, what an incredible week that was for the head-to-head team. We don't have Cleary in our side. We decided to go with Papali'i as being the clear, probably best option. Hines moving to fullback was not going to score as well as he had been in halves. Just going to do a little bit less than he would in that position, and they obviously got pumped. Cook was a great option, so the 70 would have worked well, but Papali'i's been scoring incredibly, and we got very lucky obviously with him scoring 2 tries, but he still would have picked up a 50, a high 50, 60 anyway. But to get Papali'i's captain, we had a nice bounce back from Benny Hunt. Cook was great. We've got Cotter in the side with 68 there. Played Tuolangi, which worked out well. The Hastings 55 was great. Obviously picked him up a couple of weeks ago. Burton's 44. We get a little bit annoyed with that 44, but it's still a nice score, right? Anything above that 40 mark we'll take, especially in a lighter week like this. Trading in Tedesco and getting a 48 was completely fine. Just that one trade this week. And then picking up Schneider's 49. So just had him in the emergency 5. Just went for that. I thought that was safe enough there with Aiken being out, the Ilias, Starling, and obviously Randall being our only real downside there. So a 954 in this kind of week when the People Squad was 832 and made 40 ranks, being 145th down to 108th or whatever we are now. We were 250th before this week and 650th week before. So the things that can change super quickly if you have 2 really good weeks. And that's obviously coming off the back on a couple of down weeks or slightly down weeks from Cleary, especially last week. And captaining correctly, and it can happen sometimes if you go against the grain. It can work out nicely, and sometimes it can go poorly. When Cleary gets 130, my head-to-head team gets absolutely trounced. So just think about that, guys. If you're going against the grain, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And these last 2 weeks it did. The weeks before it didn't. This team was ranked in the hundreds, and it got all the way out to 650, for example. And it's just those swings and roundabouts. So just be aware of that if you're if you're looking at your team and if you're going to go against the grain with the pod, for example, as to what could happen. And 954, absolutely incredible. And as I said in that one of those previous videos, that all you have to do is just say you're going to have a head-to-head teaming and do well overall. So 26 now. This is probably the lowest I think I've ever been. I came 50th about 4 years ago, for example, and I never was this low this early. I think I got probably through the buy period in around 15, 16. I got into the top 100 and then kind of just stayed there for the rest of the time, fluctuating between like 40 to 80th kind of thing, and ended up 52nd. So to be 26 with 15 rounds to go is pretty incredible. And really, we're this close now. We'll have a look at my head-to-head ranking. Obviously, won everything this week. I'm pretty much sitting first, second in all my head-to-head. So it's like, well, can you win overall and win head-to-head? That's probably the next little theory. And the trades I'm making, I just brought in Teddy last week as being obviously being an Origin player and not helping us in round 13. But we'll have a little bit of a play. I'm currently sitting with 22 trades, for example. And that's it's pretty high when there's a lot of people down at 12, 14, 16, 18, for example. There's plenty of trades remaining, and I could still potentially do well through the Origin period, and then save a bunch of trades at the end to be able to win head to head as well. So very, very interesting times for the head to head squad. And again, in this one, probably the only thoughts we'd have would be Randall potentially be moving on. 46k in the bank obviously isn't ideal, but already have Hastings, so similar, different to the people squad where we're not looking for him, for example, but definitely some other options that we could do. Even a potential double trade could work out as well. The Isaiah Tass one's a bit of a killer this week, but I suppose now the question is, what do we do with guys like Ben Hunt? Do we continue to push with him? They come up against the Warriors this week, which is really, really ideal for him to have a decent score again. I think you just back him in there. If you own him, I think that's the way to go. Burton, hopefully, if we can get a nice big score or two out of him over the next few weeks, that would be massive. See if they can rally after the Barrett resigning. Did everyone see that? That was obviously it's a bit of a sad time for him and the Dogs, and you'd hope that things would have turned around a little bit quicker than they have, and obviously he's moved on from that, unfortunately. But this is where the team's at. The Walters score obviously gives him a little bit of a boost, and not too much else to speak about. Obviously a few differences from the people score, but nothing crazy. And that's that. We missed out on obviously the Elliott thing. He could be a potential bring in, for example, for Randall, and we could upgrade elsewhere. So there's a few things to do in this squad if we want to. We can also hold steady because the team's going really, really well. But that's the actually we'll jump in quickly to the leagues just to show, I don't know, we can gloat at how much we won by. See if anyone got close. Yeah, a bunch of 877 is lovely there. A couple of 830s, 820s. So really dominating there. We're coming third and fourth in a couple of them, and first and second in all the others. So in really good position. You just want to be in the top 3 or 4 come the end of the season with all those extra trades, and you can really dominate. So that's the head-to-head side, and we'll move on to my team, which is just the only one getting very unlucky. These ones are getting really lucky, the people squad and also head-to-head. But my team, the trades I'm making, solid trades, and just bringing him in at the wrong time, unfortunately, and we'll see that in a second. Alright guys, I don't know what happened here, but I can't log into Facebook at the moment. It's temporarily locked me, considering maybe I'm overseas or something. But anyway, so I found my team, and we're going to go through that there. The team value, not so great, 12.761, and unfortunately this week I made the one trade in, and that was for Jason Taumalolo, and 798. So it's actually looking pretty good. I was happy with where I was at heading into the last round, and had Cotter there that obviously played well. End up with Crichton, which was nice. Obviously, Penasini and Brown did okay. Brown would have been nice for him to increase that score a little bit. In terms of the bench, was fine. Like I had, the Ilias, Starling, Schneider with the King, Aitken and Elliott out. Wasn't ideal. Obviously, some decent scores from Kohler and Walters there, but Talakai and also Taumalolo were the 2 killers this week. They get an extra 20 each, and I make a fair few ranks, for example, extra 30 each, which we expect by them, and we do even better than that and get into about that top 3,000, which would have been ideal this week, but that didn't happen. We're sitting with 20 trades as well, so a few things to do. We continue to try to make the odd trade to improve, and I think Talakai's the guy to go this week. 699, obviously lost about 35k this week with the 23. Not ideal, but he's going to be the one to move on, and it might just be a one trade swap. Again, trying to look towards round 13 again, as always in this team. The Talakai experiment didn't work out, obviously, and we'll fix that. Taumalolo's got 2 big games coming up. 2 big dog teams, which he's going to have to play big minutes for and try and help us win those, considering we've been doing really well. Didn't need him on the weekend, and that's understandable as to why Peyton didn't use him as much. You've got all those young guys, way less Ks in the legs against a Tigers team when they were pulling away and dominating. There was no need to pop him back on, and I completely understand that, but obviously it doesn't help us in fantasy terms. But yeah, Talakai will be the man to go. I've got enough centre cover, so we'll be fine on that side of the ball. And we can move Tungo down, for example, as well when we bring Aitken back in. So no stress on removing him, but I'd like to bolster up one of my positions, whether it's I've got the hooking position that I could move Cotter up to, for example, with Randall potentially going as well. Could go the Talakai and Randall double. Could go downgrade, upgrade. We're definitely obviously missing out on Papali'i. He's been absolutely killing it, and that's been our big downfall recently, especially the last month. If we had him, we're sitting around somewhere in the 1,500 top 1,000. If we picked him up 4 weeks ago when we really should have, instead of picking up Talakai, if we picked up Papali'i instead, spend that extra bit of cash, then we'd be in obviously a better position. So that's my team at the moment. That's where we're at. 20 trades is okay, I suppose. Probably gonna have to use the couple this week. Looking towards round 13, but also just bolstering the team. We just need some cattle, need some improvements, and we'll do that this week and just continue to try. Obviously, it's just been a team that's been a little bit unlucky, as I spoke about. Just haven't got the interchange and the emergencies correct, which I have in other teams, for example, and just a couple of average, riskier trades. Talakai, riskier trade, for example, that didn't work out. We didn't bring in Papali'i. Obviously, it was a big mistake missing Josh King at the start, which the other two teams did as well, but they've just made better decisions and just unlucky with Taumalolo this week, which has been fair. It can happen. It's happened a couple of times this year, but is what it is with my team at the moment. Not sitting great, sitting at 4,200 overall rank. Just slowly been going backwards, and we'll definitely improve over the Origin period, but to how much and if we can sneak into the top 1,000 would be ideal. But definitely not the year for my normal overall squad. But we'll lift and improve from here and go from there. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. If you are enjoying these types of videos, like, subscribe, get in here, guys. There's obviously heaps of good information, and teams are going well. So really happy with where we're at. As I said, hope you enjoy these. Good luck setting up your team for this week. Good luck with team lists. We'll catch you in the next one.